For those who don't know me, I was the Winston Man from 1981 to 88, which is very similar to being the Marlboro Man, except my job was to help move Winston from number 4 to number 2 in sales by doing the macho, rugged $14 billion advertising campaign to associate smoking with healthy activity, which, of course, we all know that smoking and mountain climbing do go together. We do know that the parallel of good health and smoking can be associated with the images of, me being this repelling macho G.I. Joe action figure. And basically, I took the job because I was an actor. I was a model in Philadelphia and in New York and California. I was struggling to make a living for my family. I had 3 kids at the time. And having been married at 20 years of age, just 1 month 20, and then my wife was 18 going on 19, we built our family together and had 3 wonderful kids. And, but I was never happy being a worker, meaning a regular job, because I never went to college. I barely got out of high school. I was one of those that used to go home to my parents and say, "Dad, I only need a 67 to pass." And that was my goal. I was not really goal oriented. I had 2 older brothers. One, of course, most people know that he passed away from cancer. When was it? 1996, I think it was. And he died on my birthday. Then I have another brother who's an academic, and my other brother was an athlete. And I just happened to have been, the high school clown. I weighed 256 pounds in high school and lost a lot of weight after I was married and had bleeding ulcers and was unhappy, trying to struggle in a world where I wasn't really prepared for, because I got married so young, didn't go to college. So I kind of came crashing through the gates at 31 years of age when I had lost 75 pounds and decided that I was going to try something new like acting, because I always wanted to be an actor. I was always in the plays in school, being the buffoon. So then at 31, I decided that, when people suggested I try modeling, I thought it was a joke, obviously, because I was fat as a kid. I was a bedwetter till I was 14, and I had a lot of issues. So to make a real long story short, I tried it, and luck found its way to my door, and I became a model in Philadelphia, and I started working in New York. I landed the big, envious role of being the Winston Man, which I had no idea what I was doing. I just happened to have the look that they wanted to enhance their product, which was Winston. It was number 4, in the market, and they were trying to change it. The old construction worker theme for Winston was their mainstay, just like Marlboro's was the cowboy theme. Well, mine was mountain climbing and rappelling and helicopter piloting and things like that. So I just happened to be the type that they were looking for, and I landed the role for about 8 years, and paid me a lot of money, and I did it willingly. No one put a gun to my head and made me do the job. I was an actor, and you don't have to go out and commit murder to play a murderer if you're doing a TV show or a movie. So basically what I did was I took the job very seriously, and I became the best Winston Man they ever had. And they told me so. And that's why I was there with them for almost 8 years. Unfortunately, the product that I was hawking kills 400 and some thousand people a year. And I didn't even get it. But I was a smoker. I was 3.5 packs a day, and father of 3 kids, and struggling. Became a stunt double for Harrison Ford, and did a couple other movies with him, and I did some modeling, and I did some runway, and I did some commercials, and that's how I got started. And in 1988, I quit smoking because my brother was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to make some decisions. Am I going to be a role model for my kids, or am I going to be a role model to entice and encourage and lure young, new, vulnerable teenagers who are looking for a way to become macho, tough, rugged, robust, and virile like I was? So that's basically a thumbnail sketch of who I am and what I did. And then the rest is pretty much history as to how I fell into the anti-tobacco movement and became the golden boy for American Cancer, American Lung, American Heart, CDC, AHA. So that's the story. But, me being the first whistleblower against the tobacco industry by testifying in Congress and telling the world that the tobacco industry knows exactly what they're doing when it comes to marketing to kids. So I've been vindicated, obviously, since 19 '88 when I quit smoking publicly, and from that point on, my name was mud with the tobacco industry. They don't like me anymore. They don't call. We don't do lunch. It's not one of those things that I have to live with and say, well, I'm waffling. No, my job was to get kids smoking, and I did it well. And so well that we moved Winston from number 4 to number 2 in just 2 very short years. So my passion is real. It's always been real. My frustration is even greater because of what's been happening, not only with the tobacco industry, just getting a slap on the wrist, if not even a slap on the wrist. $246 billion, payout for the master settlement agreement was nothing. That's like 3 days, 4 days worth of profit for them. So it really doesn't matter globally, what we do. So my story can be told very easily. I was a part of a problem, and now I try to be a part of the solution, but I haven't been very well received in the anti-tobacco movement because of my stance with vaping. And that's all happened with cancer, lung, and heart because they became my nemesis when I'm trying to tell them that tobacco harm reduction is what we need to really go after and do. And then I started fighting with the Democrats, the Sherrod Browns and the Carl Waxmans and the Jay Rockefellers and the Ed Markleys, and it goes on and on and on. And a couple of Republicans, and I'm not going to get political here, but the Democrats have been a pain in my ass for quite a long time, including Dickie Blumenthal up in Connecticut, when he was attorney general up there before he became a senator. So I've got a lot of history with all the people that have, been involved in the tobacco game, like Mike Sinar, and Wyden, and all these other people that I've been a part of since 1988 when I went public quitting smoking, and I received the World Health Organization Medal of Honor, by C. Everett Koop and Ron Davis from the Office on Smoking and Health. And that was going fine until, 2016 when I sent back the World Health Organization medal and pretty much told Margaret Chen to shove it up her ass. And she didn't like that. She took it personal, but she wasn't there anymore. So I didn't know that. I wasn't following the WHO, but I do know that the World Health Organization came down very hard on the vaping industry. And I know the reasons why, and they know I know. I do believe that the vaping community has to know that we still have a very viable alternative to smoking. And we still got 39 to 40 million smokers out there who are still freaking confused right now because of everything else and all the other distractions we're having. So we have to, bring them back to the front of the line and say, hey, we want to still help you. And here's the reasons why. We have some very powerful people who are trying to do everything they can to decimate an industry that's, helping 10 million, I don't care if they're dual users or not. Every cigarette they don't smoke, they're adding time to their life. So I just want people to know that I'm not gone. I didn't jump ship. I wasn't jumping the sinking ship, but I don't want to be on a vessel with rearranging chairs on a ship that's going down. I want to keep that vessel afloat, and I want to keep people knowing that there are things that they can do to enhance the quality of their life, if that makes any sense. So, in the meantime, we still got 40 million people who are now, in my opinion, just anecdotes to the rest of the society, because they don't mean anything. They started smoking, so they deserve to die. Obviously that's what their thinking is. And if they can't quit, shame on them. They deserve what they get. So I don't like that attitude. I don't like anybody that hates anybody. I despise bullies and all these people in the government and all these people in public health that are doing what I know they're doing is bullies, and that they're not going to get away with it. At least I'm going to fight, as long as I possibly can. And I want to expose these people. When I admitted that the R.J. Reynolds executive told me that the right to smoke was reserved for the young, the poor, the black, and the stupid, which was pretty much, my calling card for a lot of years after I went to Congress and testified to that. That's how everything started opening up in 1989 and 90. That's when the shit really hit the fan. And that's when I became the golden boy for the antis, because they put a hook in me, and I fell for it because I didn't know any better. I was a young, dumb kid, and I was just trying to quit smoking for my family. And then Peter Jennings pulled me aside, and he said, I'm not going to be doing the evening show the night you're on. It was every Friday night, they would do a little segment for the person of the week that they thought is something heroic. So he said, I'm not going to be on because I'm sick. But Ted Koppel will be doing the introduction. And I knew Ted from Nightline. Okay, that's how I knew him. And he said, I just want to tell you, Goerlitz, he said, watch your back. watch your back. And he said, I'm going to stay in touch with you. And I have a file full of tobacco files that I want you to be aware of. And I have nobody else to give them to, but you're the one that I think should be able to do the most with them. And that was right after I received the World Health Organization Medal of Honor. I was on every TV show, Harry Smith with CBS This Morning. And, I was on 20, 30 different shows in a matter of 2 months because of no one had ever done what I did. No one ever turned their back on tobacco company like I did. So that's how it all started. And then I became the nemesis for the anti-tobacco people, because they wanted me to shut up because they were all in cahoots, with Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds when they're sitting around coming up with the MSA. So that's another, full story we could do, but I'm not going to write the book and get my head blown off for it because it's not worth it anymore, because nobody would believe it, because we're such a conspiracy theorist country anyway. Everything we do, nobody knows what to believe anymore. I'm just telling you what I did, and I did it 30 years ago. I did this in 1991, when I started really exposing 91, 2001, 2000, almost 30 years ago. I've been saying the same thing. I was fortunate. I had a stroke, and that would have been enough to make me quit, but it didn't. My brother died of cancer. That should have been enough to get me to quit. I tried, and I did quit in 1988, but I failed miserably, and I quit and cheated and quit and cheated and quit and cheated. But then, bingo, along comes vaping. And I started reading about it in 2005 and 6, when I started listening to it, because I was already off the anti-tobacco movement with cancer, lung, and heart, because they were pains in my asses. They were lying. They were corrupt. They were evil. I didn't want anybody giving them another nickel. So I started reading up about this vaping thing. And that's what hooked me, because the concept was brilliant. The idea was brilliant. And the effectiveness was brilliant. When I saw 60, 70% success from people who had been smoking for 20, 30 years, and they didn't have to struggle like I did, quit and cheat, quit and cheat, quit and cheat, quit, because we didn't have vaping when I quit. So I am so excited about what this alternative to smoking can do. But unfortunately, they're pooping all over us, and they're trying to decimate the industry because of greed, corruption, and people who are evil. So how do you battle that? You battle it. Fight it, you use the same tactics. And unfortunately, y'all, and I don't mean you guys, but I'm saying, when I say y'all, I mean the whole, industry. Y'all got into this thinking that this is going to be a fair fight. And we had some legal, options. No, there's no legal options to this. Nobody wants to talk to me. Do you know why? Because they're afraid of me. They're afraid that what I say is believable and credible enough coming from this mouth of mine. I'm a nobody. I'm a 70-year-old guy with a bunch of kids and who's got lung disease. So now I'm just, what do you call those? What do they call me? They tell me that I'm waffling, and they tell me that I'm a sour grapes. That's it. They think that I have sour grapes. No, they paid me well, great years, until I left, and I said I'm not going to do these ads anymore. So I just believe that I have something to say, and I still think that I have time left to say something before I either have a double lung transplant for my years of smoking, almost 35 years of smoking, and I think that I should be heard and listened to. And if I have to do it on shows like this, I'll do it. I just don't know how to do it myself because I'm a technophobe. I send an email to people and I have to call them and see if they got it. Everything I do is like half-assed, because I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. I tell it like it is. I say what I want. I have no filter on my mouth. Sometimes I get myself in trouble,